You watched it live and felt it in your chest. A 31-28 loss to the Cowboys on Thanksgiving that drops the Chiefs to 6-6 and turns what should have been a holiday win into a whole lot of questions. Right away, this was a game where Patrick Mahomes showed up and fought. He made plays, he extended drives, and he kept the offense within striking distance. But football is a team sport, and by the final whistle, you were left asking, how did a Chiefs team with Mahomes and Kelsey walk out of Jerry World with their tails between their legs? Let's be blunt. This felt like one of those losses that does more than cost a W. It magnifies problems. The pass rush that's supposed to harass the QB, invisible. Coverage breakdowns on intermediate routes, too many. Penalties and mental mistakes at key moments, absolutely costly. You don't need me to rehash every play to know the tone. This was an ugly, sloppy, disappointing afternoon where the pieces didn't fit together. When the roster and scheme both cough up points at the wrong times, the scoreboard reflects it. I know there are two camps in the fanbase after this: the hot takers who want heads to roll, and the patient ones who insist it's one bad stretch. Both instincts are understandable. What you can't ignore is the context. 6-6. At this point means the margin for error vanishes. Even if you want to believe the Chiefs can run the gauntlet and sneak into the playoffs, reality says they need fixes fast, not vague optimism. This loss wasn't a fluke. It exposed recurring themes we've heard all season. Now I want to hear from you. Quick poll. Do you think the Chiefs still make the playoffs? Vote yes or no and then drop one line in the comments explaining why. Be specific. Depth, coaching, or injuries? Which factor matters most to you? Before I move deeper into the tape, do me a favor. If you're a regular here, hit subscribe to help us reach 6,000 subscribers, and smash the like button so more Chiefs fans find the IE breakdowns. That helps us keep making these videos. Alright, when you're ready, I'll dig into the offense next and show where Mahomes won battles but didn't get the support he needed. You saw what Patrick Mahomes did. He made plays under pressure, extended drives with his legs and his arm, and threw the kind of clutch passes that remind you why he's still the engine of this offense. And yet, when you break the tape down, it's obvious he's constantly forced to do more than he should. This isn't a take that blames Mahomes, far from it. It's a reality check. When your MVP is repeatedly asked to improvise because the offense lacks a reliable structure on the first read, sustainable winning becomes impossible. Look at the route concepts and the pace. A lot of the high-impact plays were off-script, shots to Rashee Rice, and a couple of timing throws to Travis Kelce. Those plays worked because Mahomes created them, not because the offense consistently manufactured clean, repeatable opportunities. That's a coaching and personnel problem combined. Rashee Rice flashed. He got open in the right moments and made contested catches, but he still struggles to consistently beat man coverage downfield. When the defense takes away your first read, you need that alpha WR who can win one-on-one consistently, or a tight end who's a consistent chain mover. Kelce remains sneaky, productive at 36. His craft and savvy keep him impactful. But he's not dominating games the way he once did. That's natural with age, and it means the Chiefs need supporting pieces to pick up the slack. The wide receiver room overall looked inconsistent at key times. Drops, miscommunications on timing routes, and route stems that didn't separate often enough. Play after play, you could see Mahomes scanning beyond where a clean, quick read should have been, because the first option wasn't reliably there. Schematically, the offense has leaned on Mahomes' improvisational genius for years. That do-whatever approach can work when the supporting cast reliably executes on first and second reads. When it doesn't, you expose the offense to variance and ugly possessions. The offensive line held up enough for Mahomes to move, But there were plays where a cleaner play call or a schemed quick game would have taken pressure off the backfield and limited risky third and long situations. Special mention: situational play calling late in the half and on critical downs looked overly conservative or predictable at times, and that's on coordinator choices as much as execution. Now your turn. Quick vote. Who was the Chiefs' offensive MVP versus the Cowboys? Comment with one name and one sentence why. Mahomes, Kelsey, Rice, or someone else. And before we go on, hit subscribe to help us reach 6,000 subscribers and smash the like button so more Chiefs fans find these breakdowns. When you're ready for the defensive tape, when you look at the defensive tape from this game, the first thing that jumps out is effort. This unit didn't quit, and they didn't get bullied physically. The defensive front set a tone early with disciplined gap control, and you could see flashes from young players who are growing into bigger roles. But the story of this defense continues to revolve around inconsistency and situational breakdowns. For stretches, the Chiefs looked like a top 10 defense, collapsing pockets, rallying to the ball, and playing clean assignments. Then in crucial moments, a missed tackle, a coverage bust, or a soft zone on third and medium extended drives that should have been dead. It's those small moments that separate a solid defense from a championship defense. And right now, Kansas City keeps failing those tests at the worst times. The pass rush had periods where it influenced the game. Not always sacks, but pressure that forced the Cowboys out of rhythm. Chris Jones drew plenty of attention, which helped free up stunt lanes for edge rushers to generate pressure. But the flip side is that when Dallas went to quick game concepts, the Chiefs struggled to counter. Corners played too far off at times, giving up easy completions that kept the Cowboys ahead of the sticks. And while the tackling wasn't disastrous, it wasn't sharp enough to eliminate yards after contact, which compounded the issue. The linebackers were active downhill, but there were still too many snaps where they got sucked in by play action or slow to flow laterally, allowing chunk plays on the perimeter. The secondary's performance was a mixed bag. Coverage looked tight for long portions, but communication failures showed up again. Whether it's a late rotation, a misread leverage, or a safety not getting over the top quickly enough, these mistakes keep costing the Chiefs explosive plays. That's not a talent issue. It's discipline and communication. And when a defense plays well for most of a drive only to give up a big play on a mental lapse, it becomes demoralizing. Dallas exploited those cracks just enough to swing momentum at key points. But here's the bigger truth. This defense is closer to being great than it looks. The foundation is there. The physicality, the youth development, the ability to generate pressure in waves. What's missing is the consistency and situational awareness that championship teams live on. The fixes aren't massive scheme overhauls. They're about tightening the small things, sharpening technique, and cleaning up communication so those drive-killing mistakes disappear. When you watch this offense right now, you can feel the tension between what it can be and what it actually is week to week. Patrick Mahomes still delivers those moments that no other quarterback in football can replicate. The off-platform lasers, the anticipation throws, the reads he makes pre-snap that most quarterbacks don't even see post-snap. But the bigger story of this game wasn't the spectacular. It was the missed opportunities, the timing issues, and the drive-killing mistakes that continue to haunt this group in 2025. Let's start with the receivers. There were drives in this game where the spacing looked clean, the route concepts were crisp, and you could feel the rhythm return. Hollywood Brown created separation on key downs, Rashee Rice showed strong hands through contact, and the Chiefs moved the chains like the offense fans expected coming into the season. But then came the other side, the hesitation at the top of a route, the mistimed break, or the missed hot read that threw off Mahomes' internal clock. Even one misstep in rhythm-based offenses creates a domino effect, and Kansas City saw too many dominoes fall at the wrong time. That inconsistency isn't about talent. It's about reps, trust, and execution. Protection was another mixed storyline. The offensive line provided clean pockets at times, especially in the interior, but edge pressure got home more often than it should. When Mahomes starts drifting or rushing reads, because he feels ghosts off the edge, the entire structure of the play collapses. And while Mahomes is capable of creating out of chaos, this season has shown that the offense functions best when he doesn't have to. The run game offered a few bright moments as Isaiah Pacheco continued running with power and balance, but there were missed cutback lanes and blocking breakdowns that prevented the ground game from taking over when the opportunity was there. And here's the frustrating part. The Chiefs moved the ball. They sustained drives. They had chances to seize momentum. But big mistakes, a penalty, a drop, a sack that knocked them out of field goal range, kept turning 7-point opportunities into 0. Championship offenses capitalize on those moments. Right now, Kansas City isn't doing that often enough. Still, the ceiling is undeniably high. You can see it every time Mahomes and his weapons sync up with tempo. The question isn't whether the Chiefs can be elite. It's whether they can eliminate the self-inflicted wounds long enough to unlock that version consistently. Before we move to Chapter 5, here's your interactive question. Which offensive issue do you think is most fixable? Protection, receiver consistency, or penalties? Let me know in the comments. And while you're here, hit that subscribe button to help us reach 6,000 and like the video to support the channel. As we wrap up this breakdown, it's clear the Chiefs are standing at a crossroads. This isn't a team that's fallen off, and it isn't a team that's dominating either. It's a contender with real flaws, but also real solutions. The final stretch of the season is going to come down to whether Kansas City can tighten the things that have held them back and build on the foundation that's already there. And make no mistake, the foundation is strong. Mahomes is still Mahomes, the coaching staff is still elite, and the roster has enough firepower to go on a run if they clean up the details. The first adjustment Kansas City has to make involves situational discipline. The Chiefs aren't losing because they're being out-talented. They're losing because they're failing in the handful of moments that swing games in the NFL. Third and medium stops, red zone efficiency, protection pickups, tackling fundamentals. These are controllable. These aren't scheme issues. They're execution issues. You can always fix execution if the leadership in the building demands it. And with Reid, Mahomes, and the veterans on this roster, you know that standard still exists. The second adjustment centers on identity. For long stretches of games, the Chiefs show you glimpses of the offense they want to be. Quick, decisive, rhythm-based, with Mahomes distributing and weapons winning routes with timing. And defensively, the philosophy is sound. Multiple fronts, physical at the point of attack, disciplined rush lanes. But right now, neither side of the ball sustains that identity for 4 quarters. The fix isn't about reinventing the wheel. It's about committing to what works and eliminating the hesitations that keep them from playing with full confidence. And then there's the intangible piece, urgency. The AFC isn't waiting for Kansas City to figure things out. Teams smell vulnerability, and they're throwing their best shots. The Chiefs have been the standard for so long that even a slight dip feels dramatic. But every great team goes through stretches like this. The question is whether they use adversity to sharpen their edges or let it define them. With the leaders they have, you'd expect the former. So as the Chiefs head into the next phase of their season, the formula is simple. Clean up the situational lapses, trust what works, and play with urgency. If they do that, this team is far from done making noise in the AFC, and the rest of the conference knows it. Before we close, here's your final interactive question. Do you still believe the Chiefs can get hot and make a deep playoff run this season? Give me a yes or no in the comments.